Most people think a car is dead at 100,000 miles. But in Japan, that's when the story really starts. Thanks to their brutal shaken inspection system, cars there routinely hit 300,000, 500,000, even a million miles without breaking a sweat. Toyota's latest 2025 fleet data shows that with the right habits, you can literally triple your engine's life and avoid $10,000 rebuild bills. Ignore those habits, and Consumer Reports says you're leaking nearly $900 a year in surprise repairs you didn't see coming. So today, I'm giving you 19 Japanese car secrets that'll push your ride toward that million-mile mark. Plus, a bonus hack at the end that can cut repair bills in half. If you love saving money and keeping your car running forever, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe and let's dive in. Secrets 19. Warm up gently before hitting the road. Most people think the right way to warm up a car is to leave it idling for 10 minutes while they grab coffee. Sounds safe, right? In reality, that habit is quietly killing your engine. When it's cold, fuel slips past the pistons and mixes with your oil, thinning it out. That thinned oil can't protect bearings and other moving parts, so every winter morning spent idling is like shaving years off your engine's life. In Japan, drivers do it differently. They'll start the car, wait maybe 20 or 30 seconds, then just drive off gently. For the first few miles, they keep the revs low, under about 2,500. It's nothing fancy, just discipline. And the results? Fleet data shows cars treated this way can last up to 3 times longer than cars that are revved cold. Think of it like stretching before exercise. You don't roll out of bed and sprint. You loosen up first. Do the same with your car, and it'll reward you with hundreds of thousands of extra miles. Secrets 18. Tailor oil changes to your drive style. One of the biggest mistakes people make is following the same oil change schedule no matter how they drive. Some folks push it way too far because synthetic lasts forever, while others waste money changing oil every 3,000 miles because their dad told them to. The truth is somewhere in between, and Japanese owners are proof of that. Here's what really matters: how you drive. If most of your trips are short hops in the city, school runs, grocery store, stop-and-go traffic, your oil breaks down faster. In that case, stick to 4,000 to 5,000 miles between changes. Highway drivers who rack up long, steady miles. You can stretch closer to 7,000 to 10,000 miles without issue. A rebuild from sludge and neglect can cost over $6,000, according to 2025 RepairPal averages. Compare that to a $50 DIY oil change with a decent filter. That's why Japanese drivers are strict about intervals, because fresh oil is the cheapest life insurance your engine will ever get. Secrets 17. Monitor all fluids, like vital signs. Here's the truth: engines almost never die out of nowhere. They give you warnings, and those warnings are in the fluids. In Japan, drivers treat fluids like vital signs. Oil, coolant, brake, transmission, all checked regularly, not just when something feels off. Why? Because lower dirty fluid is behind most major breakdowns. The NHTSA says nearly 40% of roadside failures trace back to overheating or fluid loss, and all it takes is 5 minutes with a rag and a flashlight to check. Oil once a month when the engine's cold, coolant at least twice a year, transmission and brake fluid after the car's been warmed up. Top off with the exact same type, no mixing brands. The cost? Maybe $10 to $50 for top-ups. The savings? Avoiding a $3,000 transmission replacement or a $5,000 engine meltdown. That's why Japanese owners are obsessive, because fluids are cheap and neglect is expensive. Think of it like your car's blood work. Catch the bad stuff early and you stay healthy. Secrets 16. Refresh air and fuel filters ahead of schedule. Engines breathe just like we do, and when the air or fuel filter is clogged, it's like trying to jog with a stuffed nose. The car will still run, but it's gasping for air and working way harder than it should. That strain slowly kills efficiency, power, and eventually your wallet. Japanese owners don't wait until the car starts choking. They swap filters early. Air filters every 12,000 to 15,000 miles. Fuel filters around 20,000 to 30,000. Why? Because dirt and debris create a bad air-fuel mix, which can melt pistons or wreck catalytic converters. CarComplaints.com has case after case of $2,000 repairs that started with something as simple as a clogged filter. And here's the kicker. Most filters cost less than dinner for two. $20 for an air filter, maybe $50 for a fuel filter. A quick swap saves you from terrible mileage, rough idling, or even stalling when you need power most. Think of filters as your car's kidneys. Cheap to maintain, brutal to ignore. Secrets 15. Detox the intake system every 25,000 miles. Even if you're running good fuel and changing filters, carbon still builds up inside your engine. It cakes onto valves, throttle bodies, and sensors like cholesterol in arteries. The result? Sluggish acceleration, rough idling, and in some cases, stalling, right when you need power. Japanese mechanics don't wait until the car starts wheezing. They clean the intake system every 20,000 to 25,000 miles. It's preventative medicine. Shops use methods like walnut blasting or chemical sprays to scrub out the gunk, and the difference is night and day. Engines breathe easier, fuel economy improves, and power comes back. Skip it, and you're rolling the dice on a $1,500 repair when clogged valves or injectors finally give out. Do it on schedule, and you might spend just $100 to $300 depending on the method. That's why Japanese fleet cars with hundreds of thousands of miles still run smooth. They don't let carbon pile up until it's too late. Think of it as giving your car a lung cleanse before it starts gasping. Secrets 14. Feed it top-tier gas and additives. Here's something a lot of people don't realize. Not all gasoline is the same. In Japan, fuel standards are strict, so engines naturally stay cleaner. In North America, you can roll the dice at a no-name gas station, and 10,000 miles later, your injectors are clogged with deposits. That's how cheap gas ends up costing you big. The difference is massive. Studies show top-tier gasoline creates 19 times fewer deposits than the bargain stuff, and drivers even see up to a 4% bump in fuel economy. That's basically free money. Japanese drivers don't think twice. They stick to trusted brands with detergent-rich fuel. And if you can't always guarantee where you fill up, a quality fuel system cleaner every 5,000 miles is an easy backup. Think of cheap gas like fast food. It fills you up, but it clogs your system and makes everything sluggish. Spend a little more on the good stuff, and your engine stays clean, powerful, and efficient for the long haul. Secrets 13. Scrub battery terminals quarterly. Pop the hood of an older car, and you'll often see that nasty green or white crust around the battery terminals. Most people ignore it until the car won't start. But in Japan, that's an automatic fail during shaken inspections. And honestly, they're right. That corrosion doesn't just look bad. It blocks the flow of electricity, which strains your starter, alternator, and every sensor in the system. The fix is ridiculously simple. Every few months, disconnect the terminals, scrub them with a baking soda and water mix, rinse, dry, and then coat lightly with petroleum jelly to keep corrosion away. The whole job takes half an hour and costs about $1. Compare that to an alternator replacement that'll run you $800 to $1,200 if things get bad. It's one of those habits that separates cars that die young from the ones that push 1,000,000 miles. Keep the connections clean, and the rest of the electrical system doesn't have to work overtime just to keep the lights on. Secrets 12. Inspect and replace belts proactively. Your car's belts are like the unsung heroes keeping everything moving in sync. The serpentine belt powers essentials like your alternator, water pump, and AC. The timing belt? That one keeps pistons and valves dancing perfectly together. If either one fails, it's not just an inconvenience. It can be catastrophic. A snapped timing belt in an interference engine can bend valves or destroy pistons, leaving you with a repair bill north of $4,000. Japanese drivers don't wait for squeals or cracks to show up. They check belts around every 30,000 miles and replace them well before the breaking point. Usually 50,000 miles for serpentine belts and 60,000 to 100,000 miles for timing belts. Sure, that's a $500 to $1,000 maintenance job, but it's nothing compared to the cost of an engine rebuild. Think of belts like guitar strings. They may look fine, but once they snap mid-song, the show's over. Replace them on time, and your car's orchestra keeps playing for years. Secrets 11. Pamper tires with regular checks and rotations. Tires are the only part of your car that actually touch the road, yet they're the most neglected. In Japan, drivers treat them like gold because they know bad tires ruin everything. Fuel economy, suspension, handling, even safety. Underinflated tires alone are linked to over 11,000 crashes every year in the US, and they chew through tread 25% faster. That's money and safety rolling out the window. Japanese owners follow simple habits. PSI gets checked once a month, not just when the light pops up. Tires are rotated every 6,000 miles to keep wear even, and alignments are done yearly, or sooner if the roads are rough. Winter? They swap to seasonal tires instead of trying to tough it out on all seasons. It doesn't take much, 10 minutes with a pressure gauge or a quick rotation at the shop. But the payoff is huge. Better mileage, longer suspension life, and a car that grips the road when you need it most. Good tires aren't an upgrade, they're survival. Secrets 10. Nurture the cooling system, vigilantly. Engines run hot. I'm talking up to 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit inside the combustion chamber. Without a healthy cooling system, that heat turns your motor into a paperweight. The scary part? Nearly half of all engine failures are tied to overheating, usually from neglected coolant or worn-out hoses. Japanese drivers don't wait for the temperature gauge to spike. They check coolant levels monthly, flush the system every 30,000 to 50,000 miles, and inspect hoses at least twice a year. Even a tiny crack in a $20 hose can lead to a blown head gasket, which can easily cost $5,000 or more to fix. Some newer cars run on long-life coolant that lasts closer to 100,000 miles, but the principle stays the same. Ignore it, and you're gambling with your engine's life. Think of coolant like sunscreen. Skip it once, and maybe you're fine. Skip it for years, and you're dealing with burns you can't undo. Stay on top of it, and your engine will stay cool, calm, and collected for the long haul. Secrets 9. Drive smoothly to baby your ride. Here's something most people don't want to admit. The way you drive has just as much impact on your car's lifespan as how often you service it. Slam the gas, stomp the brakes, fly over potholes. That abuse doesn't just burn extra fuel, it beats down every component in your car. Insurance data shows aggressive drivers spend 30% more on repairs and burn 20 to 40% more fuel every year. That's hundreds, even thousands out of your pocket. Japanese drivers have a different approach. Smooth acceleration, gentle braking, steady cruising. It's almost cultural. Taxi drivers in Tokyo brag about getting 80,000 miles out of brake pads simply because they drive like there's a sleeping baby in the back seat. And the payoff is huge. Less wear on brakes, tires, and suspension, and way better fuel economy. Think of smooth driving as free maintenance. It doesn't cost a dime, but it stretches every part of your car's life. Treat your ride with respect, and it'll return the favor mile after mile. Secrets 8. Schedule thorough inspections. Bi-yearly. In Japan, every car has to survive the dreaded shaken inspection. Mechanics poke, prod, and measure every little thing. It's so strict that some people would rather sell their car than fix all the issues. And while that sounds intense, it's also the reason Japanese cars rack up insane mileage without falling apart. Now, we don't have shaken here, which means it's way too easy to just shrug and keep driving until something breaks. That's how you end up with a $3,000 repair because a tiny leak or crack went unnoticed. Instead, make inspections your own routine. Twice a year, crawl around your car with a flashlight. Check belts, hoses, brakes, tires, fluids. If that sounds like a headache, spend $100 at an indie shop and let them do it. The truth is, small stuff whispers before it screams. Catching problems early feels boring, but it's the boring stuff that saves you the big money. Secret 7. Lube hinges and suspension bits regularly. Nothing makes a car feel older than the sound of squeaks and creaks. You open the door and it moans like a haunted house, or you hit a speed bump and the suspension squeals in protest. Most people ignore it, but in Japan, that's a red flag. During shaken inspections, a squeaky hinge or noisy joint can actually fail you. Why? Because noise usually means wear, and wear means something's on its way out. The fix is almost laughably easy. Every few thousand miles, hit your hinges, latches, and handbrake cables with white lithium grease. For rubber bushings and suspension bits, use a conditioner like AT205 to keep them soft and flexible. $10 and 10 minutes, and suddenly your car is quiet again. skip it. And those squeaks eventually turn into worn-out joints or seized parts that cost over $1,000 to replace. Cars don't need to sound like an old rocking chair. Keep the lube handy, and your ride will feel younger than its age. Secret 6. Refresh transmission fluid on time. Let's clear this up once and for all. Lifetime transmission fluid is one of the biggest lies in the car world. Lifetime just means until it fails, and when it does, you're looking at a bill that could buy you a decent used car. Replacing a transmission today can run anywhere from $3,500 to $6,000, and that's if you're lucky. Japanese drivers don't fall for the lifetime myth. They treat transmission fluid like engine oil. It breaks down with heat and use. That's why they drain and fill it every 40,000 to 60,000 miles, or even sooner for CVTs. A shop might charge you $200 to $400, but compare that to $5 grand for a new transmission, and suddenly it feels like a bargain. One important hedge: don't do a high-pressure flush on a neglected transmission. It can knock loose sludge and kill it faster. Stick with gentle drain and fills on schedule, and your gearbox will shift smooth for hundreds of thousands of miles. Secrets 5. Flush brake fluid every 2 years. Most drivers don't even think about their brake fluid. Pads? Sure. Rotors? Maybe. But the fluid that makes it all work? Totally ignored. And that's scary, because brake fluid slowly absorbs moisture from the air. Over time, that water rusts out lines, weakens seals, and gives you that mushy, sinking pedal when you slam the brakes. In Japan, nobody plays around with this. Brake fluid is flushed every 2 years, like clockwork. It's cheap, usually $100 to $150 at a shop, and it keeps your stopping power sharp. Skip it, and you risk blowing out an ABS pump or a master cylinder, which can cost $1,000 or more. Worse, you risk not stopping when you need to. The NHTSA estimates about a quarter of crashes involve brake issues, and a lot of them come down to neglected fluid. So yeah, it's not the flashiest maintenance job, but it's one of the most important. Fresh fluid means peace of mind every time you hit the pedal. Secrets 4. Prioritize OEM parts for key repairs. We've all been there. Something breaks, you hit the parts store, and the aftermarket version is sitting there for half the price. Tempting, right? But here's the problem. That deal often costs more in the long run. Studies show certain aftermarket parts have failure rates up to 7 times higher than OEM. And when a cheap part fails, it usually takes something else down with it. Japanese owners don't take that gamble. For critical stuff, sensors, gaskets, belts, pumps, they stick with OEM, the same part the car was built with. It fits better, lasts longer, and in most cases comes with a warranty. Sure, it costs 20 to 50% more up front, but if it doubles the lifespan, you're saving money. For non-critical parts like bulbs or air filters, reputable aftermarket brands are fine, but don't risk it on the important stuff. It's like buying shoes. Knockoffs might look the same, but they'll fall apart halfway through the run. With OEM, you know exactly what you're getting. Secrets 3. Shield against rust with undercoating. Rust is like cancer for cars. Once it starts spreading, it's hard to stop. And it doesn't just make your ride look ugly. It eats away at frames, suspension mounts, and brake lines until the car becomes unsafe. In snowy states and coastal areas, rust can wipe out 20% of a car's value in just a few years. That's more than $6 grand gone on a $30,000 vehicle. Japanese drivers don't mess around with this. In Hokkaido, where winters are brutal, undercoating is as common as oil changes. Every couple of years, they spray a protective layer underneath to block out salt and moisture. On top of that, they wash the undercarriage after winter drives, treating it like giving the car a shower after a muddy hike. Yes, it costs a few $100s, but compare that to a $10,000 frame repair. Or worse, a car that fails inspection and gets scrapped. Rust doesn't wait for you to act. Protect the underside now, and your car will keep fighting for decades. Secrets 2. Renew spark plugs at proper intervals. Spark plugs are tiny, but they do a massive job, firing thousands of times a minute to keep your engine alive. When they're fresh, your car starts instantly, idles smooth, and burns fuel clean. When they're worn, you get misfires, sluggish acceleration, and sometimes that dreaded check engine light. Ignore them long enough, and you can even damage the catalytic converter, a repair that can run you $1,200 or more. Japanese drivers don't wait for symptoms. They change spark plugs on schedule, usually every 30,000 to 60,000 miles for standard plugs, and up to 100,000 to 120,000 miles for iridium ones. It's cheap maintenance. A set might cost $50 to $100 plus labor if you're not DIYing it. Compared to the fuel savings and engine smoothness you get back, it's a no-brainer. Think of spark plugs like kitchen knives. Sharp ones make cooking easy. Dull ones make everything harder and more dangerous. Keep your plugs sharp, and your engine will slice through the miles like butter. Secrets 1. Tune alignments and balance yearly. Ever notice your car pulling to one side or your steering wheel sitting crooked even when you're going straight? That's alignment screaming for attention. When wheels are out of spec, tires wear unevenly, fuel economy drops, and handling gets sketchy. According to industry data, bad alignment can chew through a set of tires 10,000 miles early, which is basically tossing $400 to $800 in the trash. Japanese owners don't let it slide. They check alignment once a year, sometimes more if they've smacked a pothole or curb. Balancing is just as important. It keeps tires rolling smooth and prevents vibrations that wear out suspension parts. The cost? Usually under $150. The savings? Years of extra life from your tires and safer, steadier steering. Think of alignment like wearing the right pair of glasses. With bad alignment, everything feels off. With good alignment, the whole car feels sharper, smoother, and way more predictable. Do it yearly, and your tires and your wallet will thank you. Here's the big picture. None of these Japanese secrets are magic. They're boring little habits. Fluid checks, gentle driving, rust protection, inspections. But when you stack them together, the effect is massive. You're not just adding a few extra months of reliability. You're potentially adding 100,000 to 200,000 extra miles to your car's life while saving thousands every single year in surprise repairs. Think about it. Spending a couple $100 here and there on maintenance can save you from the nightmare bills. $5,000 engines, $6,000 transmissions, $10,000 rust repairs. That's why cars in Japan push crazy mileage while ours get scrapped way too early. They take the small stuff seriously, and it pays off big. Bonus, the $20 tool that saves $6,000. Here's the bonus hack I promised. Get yourself a basic OBD2 scanner. $20 on Amazon, plugs into your dash, and it tells you exactly why your check engine light is on. No guessing, no $150 diagnostic fees, no ignoring a small problem until it turns into a $6,000 repair. Japanese owners log every code and repair in their maintenance history, and buyers love that proof. It's the cheapest mechanic you'll ever own. So there you go. 19 Japanese-inspired secrets to keep your car running like a million-mile legend. Which one are you guilty of skipping? Drop your car's make, model, and mileage in the comments. I'll pin the best ones with some extra tips. If this video saved you even a little money, smash that like button, share it with the friend who always drives on bald tires, and make sure you're subscribed. Because in the next video, I'm exposing the so-called modern features car makers add that actually destroy reliability. Trust me, you won't want to miss that one. Drive safe, stay smart, and let's hit a million miles together.